don't know what my only crime was being happy. That's all I did.
I hate you.
Holy shit, Danny. I'm back, bitches. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings. I'm finally back off my hiatus because moving sucks. I'm joined this week by Danny Hernandez and James Asante, back here once again to talk about tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite. We start with the top of the card, which saw Claudio Castagnoli face off against Rey Fenix in a double Jeopardy match. Now, the winner of this match would get to face off against the other for whatever Ring of Honor title they had. So if Rey won, he got to face Claudio for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And if Claudio won, him and a partner of his choosing got to face off against Rey and Penta for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. This was a very good, fast, hard-hitting match. It came right out of the gate, so I enjoyed it very much. There were some really cool spots in this match, including Rey Fenix running across the barricades, which with those metal barricades is very difficult to do, to hit a Hurricanrana to the outside. Rey was also able to reverse a Ricola bomb into a Code Red, which I thought was pretty sweet. What's going on, JL? Good to see you.
No, it's not. He's always mean to me. He's always mean to me. Like, JL, no.
When has he ever been mean to you?
Well, why should that be different than us?
There's no real answer to that, I guess. Welcome, JL. You're part of the crew, apparently.
Anyway, this match ended when Claudio hit what I initially thought was a fucking burning hammer. I don't even know what it was, but Rey kicked out of it, so thank God it wasn't a burning hammer because that move should never be kicked out of.
Unless you're Brian Kendrick in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Literally just said that.
I think Excalibur called it the water slide or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. Whatever it was fucking nuts.
That sounds sexual.
Whatever it was, Rey kicked out of it.
Yeah, fucking nuts sounds sexual, yeah.
Hey, look, we don't kink shame around here. Anyway, Rey kicked out of that. Claudio then began to lay in the hammer and anvil elbows until he picked up Rey for Ricola Bomb, hit that, and got the pin. So now he and somebody of his choosing will be facing off against Rey Fenix and Penta for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. James, like I said, I thought this was a really good way to start the show. But hard-hitting, fast-paced. Both of these guys got in a lot of good shots here. And this was, I haven't said this in a while, but again, I haven't been here in a while. This felt like an old school AEW match where you just had two really good fucking wrestlers go at it. Although this one was for a bit more stakes, so it added a little something more to the match itself.
There was no real story to it, at least not on the AEW side of things. It's not really something that's been, I think, done with Ring of Honor either, from what I've been watching and covering. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Claudio always does well with the hey, you know it, welcome. Always appreciated. Claudio always does well with smaller guys. He does well with very fast-paced guys. He's a good counter to them, and he's found a way to incorporate their style into his moveset. So it was a great match between two great wrestlers. Phoenix has been killing it lately. Phoenix is always killing it, but we've been hearing that he and his brother are probably going to be doing more singles stuff, which is very interesting to me as now their Ring of Honor tag team titles will be on the line. And probably only, I think, their second defense since winning the titles WrestleMania weekend.
Yep, it's their second defense. I believe their first was against Hobbs and QT Marshall at a...
Not a great reign. Not a great reign.
Yeah, they haven't really done much. But yeah, you're right. It is a little weird. So, look, I love Penta and Rey both in singles and tag. So I will take them on my screen either way I can get it. And if that's the way they're going to start going, then so be it. I mean, having Rey or Penta get singles titles, whether it's the TNT or the Intercontinental, would be pretty fucking cool. So
wow, they're going to WWE?
Did I say? Oh, I said Intercontinental.
It's okay. You've been gone a while. I
You
get
know
it.
what? I'm also realizing I wrote that for all of my notes. It's the international title, right?
Yes.
So, drink every time I say Intercontinental tonight. But
Good luck, everybody.
either way, if going for that title or the TNT title for either of them would be pretty cool. But Danny, what do you think about this opening match?
I don't think either of those two jabronis should be sniffing the international title, but
I didn't think it would.
yeah, they're just not worthy. But this match was awesome. I think you guys undersold it with your monotone lack of excitement. All right, guys, can we wake up? It's only 10:36 at night. You've only been moving for the past month. You've only been, I don't know what you do, James, but you've only been doing that.
I'm trying not to yell. It's very echoey in here. I don't have anything on the walls yet. Like,
It's not bad. You're good.
Yeah, I guess I'm passionate in here, man. But this match was.
There you go. There's some passion.
Yeah, there we go. This match was awesome. Claudio is so good, and like what James said, but less articulate, but more passionate. He is so good at being better than his opponent and wrestling their style mixed with his perfectly. He complements their style with his style because his style goes with all styles. There's no style of wrestling that Claudio doesn't seamlessly blend into because he's that freaking good. Everything about this match was cool. The opening 2 minutes of this was fucking fun. All right, Claudio pushing him back and Phoenix kipping up instead of just getting right back up. Fucking badass. Claudio no selling those chops because you know what? That's one of the most believable no sells I've ever seen because why would that chop hurt Claudio? Amazing. Him catching him on that freaking tope suicida, that was so cool. He caught him into a military press. Him chucking him over the barricade into the aisle, amazing. Everything about this was awesome. Claudio's the man. Phoenix is all right too. But this was awesome. If you're not going to have Orange Cassidy open the show, you probably should be Claudio, all right? Like,
by the way, speaking of no selling, can we talk about Taz and no selling Ray Phoenix running the barricade? What's his name? Shivani's like, Taz, have you ever seen anything like that? He said, I have, but that was impressive. Screw you, man.
I was trying to think of who he meant. It was it Sabu or like something?
I mean, a lot of guys do run the barricade. Like RVD used to, Jeff Hardy used to. A lot of guys did. But the difference is they were running a flat barricade. They weren't running like a steel guardrail. It's a very different thing.
That was my big difference was when guys in WWE run the barricade, it's about yay wide.
Yeah.
Like you said, the steel guardrail is about this thick. Like,
yeah. I was very annoyed with Taz. I was very annoyed with Taz on that call.
But that's why I was trying to think of ECW guys because they did used to use the metal guardrail. So I was like, oh, I wonder if like Sabu used to do it.
I wouldn't be surprised. Sabu definitely.
Or maybe RVD used to do it back in ECW as well. Like maybe that's why he was quote unquote no selling it, but
still not great.
Yeah,
still not great.
Speaking of a lack of enthusiasm,
right? I promise I'll be better than Taz for the rest of the show, Danny.
Lack of enthusiasm, Jones.
Don't just promise me. You gotta promise the audience too.
I promise you, JL. I promise you. You know it. I promise the whole world, everybody watching.
Blattner, he's in here too.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, I do love Taz, but he did no sell. Just a little bit. But yeah, no, Danny, I think you're right. Like, despite our lack of enthusiasm, this was a fan-fucking-tastic match. I love when AEW has matches like this, especially to open. It set the tone for the entire show, which I thought was a really good show. So
I do too.
I'm happy this opened, and I'm happy the energy it brought.
In terms of wrestling this week, I got to give it to both WWE and AEW. They know what they're competing against. They're competing against a lot
I would never do that. I would never start a tangent on a pointless
tangents.
No, not here at the Mark It Down podcast. But AEW and WWE both knew what they were programming against this week. They had a lot of playoffs to contend with for TV ratings. They know it's going to be a bloodbath all across the board. So if they're going to go down, they're going to go down putting on a hell of a show. And Raw did it in terms of wrestling, and AEW is doing it, or did it tonight too.
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks were playing tonight. I don't even know if they won. Like, that market alone is really hard to go against. So I don't blame them for counter programming perfectly. And I've been kind of behind on my wrestling the last 2 weeks. Obviously, I haven't been here, but everything I've heard coming out of both shows out of the last few weeks has been really good. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see everybody putting on good shows again, and the competition. Obviously, the rising tides lift all boats. Let's move on. We went backstage via a very surprise Excalibur to Renee Paquette, who ran into a returning Miro. As you know, it just spoiled in the chat there. Miro is back in AEW, seemingly. We didn't see him for the rest of the show, but we did see him walk into Tony Khan's office, which kind of became a bit of a recurring theme throughout the night. But obviously, Danny, we don't really know why Miro's there technically, but I think this is obviously another breadcrumb towards the announcement of the second AEW show. I guess technically the third, but the second main AEW show, allegedly being called Collision.
So I'm really happy Miro is back, but I do have a punch up of this return that I think would have made it better. I think, if Renee went up to Miro just like she did and was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing here? Like, why are you back?" It would have been cool if Miro was like, "Oh, you work here now?"
That would have been great. That really would have been great.
Yeah, but he takes himself seriously, I guess, at this point, so he doesn't want to do that. He wants to buckle down and be a serious character and probably win a title. Actually, if Miro could save the TNT title, that'd be pretty cool. So, I'm happy to see Miro back. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I hope it was worth the wait, whatever it is. I hope for him and for us, for his sake and for ours, I hope that what he is back for is worth it. I hope he's not back to just have like a Brian Cage type of run where he's a title contender, loses, and then disappears into nothing.
I mean, I will say Cage is having a good run in Ring of Honor right now. I know that doesn't mean much, but he is having a very good run in Ring of Honor. Yeah,
but is that really making him happy, or is that making his wife happy?
That's a better question.
But that's all I need from Miro. This was a tease, it said, so we got to see where it goes before we can really sink our teeth into it. But good, we're all excited for this return.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Miro's wife, did you guys see on Twitter somebody responded to one of CJ Perry's pictures of her being in Puerto Rico or Mexico, so I forget where. It's like, oh, I guess you're not with Miro anymore. And Miro quote tweeted the guy and went, "Don't you know she's still with Bobby Lashley?"
I didn't see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, James, despite obviously, just being a tease, it does provide a lot of excitement here. Like, obviously, Danny pointed out, we haven't seen Miro in forever because there has been such a lack of. There has just been nothing for him. Allegedly, creative hasn't had anything for him. Allegedly, I was going to say, now that this extra show seems to be coming around, they need people. Like, I know the roster's big enough, but they need people. They need stars. So they're going to have something for him because they need to fill another 2 hours of broadcasting.
Realistically, we also have to acknowledge the fact that we don't know why he was gone for so long. Speaking to Danny's point that if he is back, we want it to be something worthwhile. The reality is a lot of the rumors were also saying Tony repeatedly pitched stuff to Miro, and Miro kept turning them down because he didn't like them. So we don't know. That does make me feel better about him being back because maybe he finally was presented something that he could sink his teeth into and he'd be happy about. So that's good news, or good potential news, but we'll see.
James, I hate to cut you off the moment you pause to regain your composure and your thought, but I just want to address Note's comment real quick. I don't think it's probably Miro was hands down the best TNT champion in the history of the company.
You don't think Cody's first run is also a contender for that?
It
spot?
Is. Yeah, no. It's really the first four people are the only contenders. It's Cody, Brody, Darby, and Miro. Those are the only contenders.
That's true.
But I think it's hands down Miro because he made it. Like I don't know. He made it into something really cool, and the Redeemer gimmick was so good. Whereas but Cody is a contender, but Cody is what like John Cena was to the U.S. title.
Bigger than the belt, so making it feel special.
Yeah. But like the belt and Miro were perfect for each other, you know?
I get that.
Yep. Same thing with, honestly, I thought the belt and Brody were perfect together as well. Like, you're right. Those
Jay, yeah, Cody made the belt hot potato the second, third time around, but Cody's first run was great.
It was like I just
second and third run.
Like I just put in the chat, it was the Cody verse that killed the TNT title. Like all of that hot potatoing and everything just involved.
I disagree. I think it set a bad precedent, but I think the Scorpio Sky Wardlow situation really killed it. Like, it was still, oh my God, what's going to happen with the TNT title when Cody was having that feud with Sammy? And then it wasn't until Scorpio Sky got his hands on it that it felt like, all right, Cody teased that this wasn't a mid-card title. It's just another title, which we all knew better. But it wasn't until Scorpio won it that it actually started to feel like a mid-card title. And I like Scorpio Sky, but that's true. And then Wardlow, who, again, another guy I love, was not allowed to have a good run with that belt.
Yeah.
Let's not put all the blame on Scorpio.
Yeah.
It is partially.
And then obviously by the time Scorpio got it, it had been knocked down to a mid-card title, and then at that point,
even though he had the best belt,
he just wasn't the guy to save it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the guy to save anything. But I would like to say that back when Wardlow won that ladder match, that I was one of the only people upset about it because it should have been Keith Lee, and I stand by that. Despite Swerve and Our Glory becoming a great tag team, it should have just been Keith Lee. The TNT title would not have fallen to such lows if Keith Lee was the champion.
I
think he'd be a good guy to pick the belt back up again. Although, depending on how Wardlow's feud goes, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of that belt again. But we will talk about it later.
One last question before I think we gotta move on. So, with Miro, let's say he was gonna join a group because there's so many of them. Do you think he'd be a better fit in the Blackpool Combat Club or in the Outcasts?
Of the two, the Outcasts. They need muscle. They don't really have muscle. That said, truth be told, I think he'd be perfect for the Jericho Appreciation Society. I hate it, but it's true.
Not the way I think he wants to take himself seriously.
Yes, I agree on that, but we know how to book him better than he does. Obviously.
Yeah, we got to move on, right, Rev?
Yeah, probably. Because I'm sure we could talk about that TNT title for the whole time. I just honorable mention to Darby's second run. It was only like 4 weeks, but it was still really good. And
honorable mention to Joe. Joe did a good job for a short time.
It was actually bookmarked. It was Joe Darby Joe, and that was a good solid run for that title. But other than that,
Iron Lion, what's up, pal?
Hey, Lion, what's going on? Let us move on. We then had a promo package from MJF, and we got each of these for for each of the four pillars. We started with MJF here. He compared the four pillars to the Beatles. He called Sammy was Ringo, and then he had Darby as I think Lennon, Jungle Boy as George Harrison, and himself as McCartney. It was good. I honestly didn't realize they were going to do four of these, so I didn't write as many notes on this as I probably should have. But
Jungle Boy's as George Harrison's a good shout because that's the one whose name is the hardest to remember. So it was a great call there.
And I thought it was pretty funny, but I thought it was very interesting to note as well that this was the only one that didn't have anybody else in it, if I'm not mistaken. It was just MJF talking. All the other ones had other people featured giving background on the wrestler, whereas this one was just MJF, James.
It's almost like everybody else has friends, family, people that care about them, while MJF only has the belt. And I think that is a very compelling angle. But MJF basically hit the James McAvoy wanted quote, "What the fuck have you done lately?" It's true. Like, I like the other three, but Darby's probably had the most success. Then Sammy, then Jungle Boy. At least as a single star.
I think Jay, as is tradition, Jay here on Danny's side, not liking Jungle Boy, but we'll talk about him in a bit. Danny, how did you feel about MJF's promo here?
Oh, I thought it was really cool. I thought that was a really fun way to just have a filler off week where they're not on TV, which I think after being such a huge focus of the show for the past 2 weeks, having a cool down week was a smart move, and I thought this was a great way to do it. I like the video package. MJF is fantastic, despite how James tries to constantly discredit him.
I said it was good.
I know, but you have a weird anti-MJF agenda, which I think is based on your anti-Long Island agenda, which is more understandable because, fuck Long Island. But, you got to separate the shitty place from the shitty person, It's
so hard. It's so hard. He represents them too much for me to do that.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was good stuff. There's not much else to say about it besides Jungle Boy's a joke.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good table setter for the other the other three promos. So I did enjoy it. All right. So after that, I think we came back from commercial break. We had a quick video package about the Steel Cage main event, and then FTR came to the ring for a promo. Dax asked Jay Briscoe to come out, but instead Jeff Jarrett and the Slap came out.
That would be tough if Jay came out. That'd be really surprising.
My bad. It's been
wow. Okay, Mark. Christian. Sheesh.
Mark came out. Jay came out in spirit. Man, it's been. I'm rusty. Anyway, so Dax asked Mark to come out, but instead Jeff Jarrett and the Slapnuts appeared. They want an answer to their challenge for a match at Double or Nothing for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Dax says that they'll only do it if the Slapnuts admit to using Mark Briscoe, and then Mark comes down to the ring and tries to calm everybody down. He announces that he talked to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan says that he will make the tag title match official at Double or Nothing with Mark as the special guest referee. All the guys seem to be okay with this. Mark starts giving everybody cups to put some vodka in, or some sort of liquor. Looked like vodka. Honestly, kind of looked like Tito's. And as Sanjay starts pouring everybody some of the drinks, he takes a swig, spits it right into Dax's eyes, and then Jay Lethal goes after FTR. In the chaos, Jarrett then throws Briscoe at Dax as Briscoe is trying to pull Jarrett back, and Dax, who is blinded by the liquor, accidentally hits a pile driver onto Mark Briscoe, just absolutely destroying him. As Dax realizes what he's done, he and Cash tend to Briscoe as Jeff Jarrett and the Slapnuts clear out, with Jarrett saying, "Look what you did to our special guest referee." So, James, interesting promo here, obviously trying to sow seeds of division between FTR and Mark Briscoe. I keep saying Mark so I don't fuck it up again. But I think we don't really see too many special guest referees in AEW. So I think that match is going to be very interesting.
Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry. But Rev, just so you know, you did fuck it up in the banner that's going across the screen right now.
Thanks. It's been 2 weeks.
That's okay. Anyway, James,
I copied and pasted it. I appreciate it.
It's okay. No, it's okay.
We here at the Market Down podcast, mainly me, regret the error.
It's okay. It's okay. If one of us messes up, only they mess up. We don't all accept it.
Thank you, JL.
I very much I'm digging the angle, but I gotta say, beyond dissension regarding Mark Briscoe and FT, I'm so sorry, I can't. Beyond that, I noticed something that I don't know if I looked too much into, or if it's possible it was intentional that they were trying to draw attention to it. Jay Lethal looked genuinely upset that Mark got the pile driver. And I don't know if that's him expressing remorse about how that played out, about regret, and if maybe that'll start to create division with him and the rest of the Slapnuts. I love Jay, and I'm loving this group, but I personally think Jay Lethal can and should be doing more. So who knows? Maybe this is the start of that. Or maybe it was just he was upset Mark got the pile driver, but it worked out in his favor, and we'll see. He doesn't care in the long run. But good segment. Good to see this feud continuing. The crowd is not 100% with FTR the way they have been in the past. They sort of, they cheered them, but I think there was a moment or two where they kind of like not rallied against them, but they took an opportunity to cheer against them for a second. And I wonder if if the crowds are starting to catch up to the internet's distaste for FTR right now.
I mean, I would hope not. It's just, well, hopefully now with Dax discontinuing his podcast, the hatred dies down a little bit, and just because he's not talking as much as he used to. But yeah. I guess we'll see there. Danny, what do you think of this whole shebang?
I think they're turning on FTR because they're fans of AEW, Jeff Jarrett, and the Slapnuts, quickly becoming one of the best groups in the whole company, honestly.
They low-key are.
They know their place, and they play to their strengths, and they do it so well. They don't overstay their welcome. They're not beating people they shouldn't beat. The only match I think they won that they shouldn't have won was like that first tag team battle royal, but that whole thing was a fucking mess. But like, they've found almost a near perfect formula, and like I don't know if you saw their like bits from last week, but they were like really funny. So like they went to Mark Briscoe's farm, and they got into some farm shenanigans. It was good stuff. So like
it really was.
They're endearing.
I need to watch it.
Whereas FTR, I'm not gonna always bring up the Acclaimed, but like FTR, not purposely, not them directly, but the FTR situation derailed the Acclaim, and now FTR are kind of off the boil the same way that they've knocked Acclaim like off the boil. So like they're just not. Neither team is as hot as they were last year as a result, and that's fine. The tag division just isn't as good as it was a year ago. It's in a different spot now, weirdly enough. But this was good. I still liked it. I thought I feel like this is the first time Mark got to like cut a promo since he's gotten there, since like the first week. So at least like in the ring with the live mic. So like that was good. Like it was fun, and then everything else was fine. But I'm super into Jeff. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm super into Jeff Jarrett right now.
What a world.
Jarrett had, like you said, they've been booked perfectly. They come in, they heal it up, they cheat like fucking crazy. They get some wins they shouldn't because they're hitting people with stolen Golden Globes and guitars. And then, and then they lose the match they should lose, whether it's,
James, you look confused. Let me explain something to you real quick. Okay, like I don't want to make a huge deal of it, but I'm kind of a big deal. I work in the fashion industry, as it were. But not saying that this is a good or a bad thing. I'm not saying this meant a lot to me or anything. But the president did wave to me today, so
the current president?
Yeah, the current one. Yeah.
No, the president of Macy's. Yes, the president of the United States.
All right, but I mean, you can still refer to past presidents as the president.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Look, man, I work in an interesting spot. All right, I see a lot of people. I see a lot of things. What today just happened to be the president. He just happened to wave to me.
I didn't know he was in town.
Yeah. He fucking made a lot of people unhappy. By the streets being, there were literally people trapped on the sidewalk, like they could not leave the sidewalk to cross the street in any direction, like in every corner. That was cut off because they had to drive the opposite way down the street as opposed like
that's just New York City in general. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, no, it wasn't, but No, he was not eating ice cream, Iron Line, but he was on his way to a restaurant, so he might have gotten ice cream there. But he did have his big signature stupid aviators on. Not that aviators are stupid. I have a pair of aviators, but like,
Just the way he wears them. Sometimes.
Yeah, but hey, he was smiling. He waved to people, me included. We're not going to talk about our opinions of him because
This ain't that type of podcast.
yeah, it's not the type of podcast. We're gonna let all of that go. But yeah, not saying I'm like a huge deal or anything, but just James, has the president ever waved to you?
No, you've got me beat.
Rav, has the president ever waved to you?
Not directly, but I was at the 2004 Republican National Convention and I saw W speak. So
Interesting. I'm sorry, the 2004. You were like 11.
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
My dad was working security and he was off that night and got his tickets, so I went. It was cool. I saw the president speak. I met some congressmen. It was fun.
Oh my God! If Joe Biden, I would love a Mortal Kombat movie with Joe Biden and Johnny Cage. Yeah, I'm all in for that.
Somebody go AI the shit out of that right now.
Yeah, Iron Line. Don't say that. John Blatner's in the chat. He will be the guy to do that.
Was that the convention Rage played at? I have no idea. You can look it up. It was in Madison Square Garden. That's why I was there. So I'm sure you could check that really quick, John.
Maybe. But what happened after this? I'm sorry. I know we were talking about something, but John Blatner teed me up for it.
Just to go to a past comment, but still wrestling related. AEW needs their own developmental program going. That's what Dark and Elevation were. That was letting guys get reps and develop. Guys is a gender neutral term.
I know.
You're a gender neutral term.
You is a gender neutral term. You are correct.
Second person.
But it's why a lot of us are upset Dark and Elevation are gone. But hopefully Rampage is now going to fill that spot.
I think we'll see. And I wouldn't be surprised if they started ramping up some of the house shows as well.
Yeah.
Just to get people more reps because
it's
right. Like they definitely need it.
I was talking to some indie wrestlers who were complaining, and not complaining, that sounds bad, but who were lamenting. Yeah, they were lamenting the new change because beyond just getting reps in and developing a little bit more, it gave indie guys a lot of exposure. And James is really having an off night. He is. I guess so. I'm jealous the president didn't wave to me, I suppose. But it's a little bit of it's a shame that a lot of indie guys who were getting their first real exposure in front of crowds on Dark and Elevation aren't going to be able to get that same level of exposure now. So again, hoping Rampage takes the spot. You're right. The house shows could amp up to really let those guys get the reps in, but it's going to be a little
terrible idea. No house shows. That's half the appeal of wrestlers wanting to go there.
I mean, I don't think they're going to force anybody to do house shows, but
and they seem to be limited. Like there's one this weekend, which is why they said that Wardlow wasn't there, but this is only like the first one the first one in like the last 3 months that I can remember.
Yeah.
Elevation and Dark were both on broadcast, JL. Broadcast on YouTube. They were broadcast on YouTube. Excuse me. But yeah, I agree. I mean, we friend of the pod, Jay Lyon. Him and his tag team partner were on Dark or Elevation, I believe, a couple of times, and they had.
You guys don't think Jay Lyon and JL are the same people?
But for like the first time it happened, I thought it was possible, and then it very quickly became clear.
It would be really funny if he just came in here and bullied us, except Danny. All right, but let us move on here. We will let it play out. I'm interested to see how it all goes, but I do think you're going to start seeing Rampage become more of a main events type show.
Yeah, Velocity. Velocity. Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that for just to make the WWE comparison, and then you'll have the house shows and people will be getting reps there as well. Okay, let us move on. We had a backstage interview with Chris Jericho. He's still reeling from Adam Cole's attack last week. So he got a court order banning Adam Cole anywhere from the building anytime Jericho is in one. Then Roderick Strong appears, and I somehow avoided that spoiler for a while. I don't think I saw it until like 2 weeks later, and I was like, oh shit, Roddy. Anyway, he comes in and challenges Jericho to a Falls Count Anywhere match next week, and Jericho accepts, thinking that he would have the JAS at his back in a match with no disqualification. But Roderick Strong pulls out his own legal document and says that he got his own counsel, and the JAS will also be banned from the building for that match. So it will supposedly be straight up. It won't. I'm sure the Jericho Appreciation Society will somehow break into the building anyway.
So the fight will just break outside the building.
Thank you. That's how we're going to see Adam Cole, and that's how we're going to see JAS.
All right. Then we went backstage quickly again to Renee Paquette as she was still waiting outside of Tony Khan's office for Miro to emerge. However, as she was waiting, Thunder Rosa appeared, and she makes her return to AEW, saying apparently it's a good night to speak to Papi Khan, and she goes into the office as well. So we now, as we saw Miro come back after a long layoff, we now see Thunder Rosa coming back after a long layoff due to injury, but obviously, James, not without its controversy and turmoil.
This new show is definitely going to be full of very quiet, polite, easygoing wrestlers, isn't it?
Land of misfit toys over there.
Oh, man. They clearly know what they're doing. They're clearly getting people ready. And my genuine question is, are they going to turn this into... I don't like that language. I don't like referring to women as bitches. That's not cool. But anyway... I wonder if they're going to incorporate that Collision is going to be the show for people who are fed up and frustrated with how they were handled on Dynamite and Rampage in the past. I wonder if they're going to actively make that a storyline aspect. We'll see. I mean, it'll be an interesting one because Tony's sort of taking a shot at himself in that instance, but maybe it'll be good to add a little spice there to show that the people that are wrestling on Collision are hungry for TV time, are hungry for the spotlight, and want to showcase themselves when they feel like they couldn't in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Tony can occasionally be self-aware when it comes to, storyline stuff. Obviously, I think he does that with MJF in terms of all their contract disputes and allowing some of that to play out on air with MJF leaving and stuff. So he can do that, and it would be interesting to see if that's a storyline when it comes to, obviously, Punk or Miro, assuming, Punk's coming back, but come on, he's coming back. Thunder, I think is a little different because it was injury based, but her beef was more with other wrestlers, namely Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, as opposed to Tony himself. So I do think that there'll probably be some weaving of the storyline where there was just locker room division into Collision starting, Danny. But when it comes to Thunder, I don't think it's going to be Tony Khan related.
I don't care about Thunder Rosa being back, honestly. Like, I got nothing. It's good. She should be back. I wouldn't say drop her completely, but I'm kind of over it. I don't think she's like a monster or anything. I think some people just don't like each other, and that's fine.
It happens.
And even that I do think is being played up for television.
Yeah, since it's on the show. Yeah. Since on the the All Access. Can we call that show AAA instead, just for so we don't get confused?
AEW All Access. Yeah, that technically works.
I don't know. Conan might get mad at us.
No, well, that's AAA.
O'Brien, he can come. If Conan O'Brien could be on whatever show he wants, man, I don't care. But it's like I just don't know what she can do now. She could join Britt and hit her against the outside.
That would feel so weird, It would feel so weird from a storyline perspective.
Yeah, but it's weird because I don't think she would join the Outsiders, but I don't think she would join Britt and Jamie either, obviously. So I think just keep her away from all of that. Like, honestly, sending her to this other show. We don't even know if she's fully healthy yet. She could be, she could not be, but there's a good chance they're just going to let her take the time until Collision supposedly starts, just to keep her away from them.
Let's make Danny really happy. Let her be the one to take the TBS title off of Jade.
I would just feel like nothing about that, honestly. I don't dislike Thunder Rosa. I kind of over her. I agree with Jay to a degree. It's like, oh, like you did what you did, and now, people are unhappy with you, and all you can do is you deal with it or try to make amends. I'm not into the idea of making a whole new show and keeping the locker room divided. Like that is the most childish fucking shit I've ever heard. These are grown ass people, and I'm not saying that people weren't wrong in any of these instances, because people were wrong. Dogs were bitten, but like, get the fuck over it. Like, grow up, Like, it's, he doesn't really watch this podcast, but a friend of mine, John Blattner, knows him. His name is AJ. For the sake of not doxing him and just giving a nickname. And one day he was being really obnoxious and yelling and threatening people, so I punched him in the face. And we were like 12, 13-ish or so. So I punched him in the face, and he got really mad. He started crying and screaming more. So I punched him one more time, and I was like, "Go home." So he went home. And then 2 days later, we hung out, and it was fine. I mean, his teachers asked if his parents were hitting him, but other than that, it was fine. We hung out 2 days later. He was like, yeah, he was mad. He was doing fucked up things. I had to resort to violence. We had a fight.
So violence,
and then we got over it.
Violence is sometimes the answer.
I believe that a lot of people need to be hit in the face at least once in their life.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a shot in the mouth.
Rev, I know you've been punched in the face. I've been punched in the face. James, have you ever been punched in the face?
Yeah.
That one's a little surprising to me.
I used to get bullied mercilessly in school.
Okay, it was being bullied, not just a fight. Okay.
Oh no, like it turned into fights. Like it's not like somebody just walked up and punched me in the face. Like they would be like school fights because I was getting bullied, and I was like, "We're not gonna take it." And then like it was.
Is that why you were getting bullied?
Yeah, like nobody would join me, so it just got awkward. And then I'm just singing and like snapping my fingers by myself, and then that just turned into a fight.
Well, usually when there's like a gang on one side and a gang on the other and they start singing, it does end in violence. Or maybe that's just West Side Story.
But just like WWE, I was a one-man gang.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. I don't know how we got here. How did we get here?
Oh, because I'm just saying, I don't think there should be like people can fight and make up and get over it. Granted, me and AJ were friends, so we were going to continue to be friends. So it was a little bit easier to mend that bridge, but it only took 2 days, whereas like we were hanging out, this dude still had a black eye. Like that's how quickly we got over it.
I do think there is something, in all seriousness, because I do understand the point you're making about adults needing to be adults and handle things maturely. But on the same token, clearly that was not possible the first time this happened and a problem arose. And that's not to say that every time there would be a problem, we would see the same result. But I do also, on some level, in a weird way, respect people saying, I do not want to be in a toxic work environment. And if there is a way of circumventing that problem, I would like to. Again, granted, I don't think this is the answer either. But I do get someone saying, I don't feel comfortable going to work with this person who threw a chair in my face.
Honestly, I think it's ending up actually a little more column A and a little more column B, where I do think that there was a plan to have a second show.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a new announcement coming out from Warner Brothers Discovery with AEW, I believe that's next week, about a new TV deal. And I do believe that's when they're going to announce Collision. So none of us really watch Rampage, but for the time slot of death that it's in, it does pretty decent numbers. Dynamite every week does at least like 850,000 people every week, which is and it's usually a lot more. It's almost usually up in the 900,000 to almost 1 million. So they're getting consistent numbers out of this show. Adding another show, especially one in more of a primetime slot, is a good idea. So I do think that was coming down the pipeline at some point. It also just so happens that there is a huge split in the locker room, and this show affords them the opportunity to kind of try to separate some people who might not like each other, just to avoid these confrontations, that might be happening on a weekend.
Well, can I just say real quick, it actually was a camp counselor, and I was great at it. The kids loved me. They were my little army. So
I've heard that story. It's hilarious.
I could see Danny leading an army of children.
It's the only way I'm going to deal with kids is if I'm weaponizing them.
All very well dressed because Danny works in the fashion industry.
Bro, don't dox me like that.
All right, we need to move on. We spent a lot of time on this, so let us move on. We had the second of the Pillar Four Ways promo, where we saw people with talking about Sammy Guevara. So Sammy obviously talked about himself a little bit, but it also featured Chris Jericho and Ty Mello, and actually played a little more towards the face side of Sammy than
it did.
Stuff. So I found that really interesting, Danny.
Yeah, I actually think the Jericho part of it was a nice touch because it almost felt like Sammy wasn't part of the Jericho Appreciation Society for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So having Jericho just because, you would think there would be some sort of jealousy there from Jericho that, Sammy's in the title picture and he's not. So for him to put him over like straightforward like that was a really nice touch and really good. But yeah, Sammy being like, yeah, kids, you can do whatever you want. Don't let anyone tell you it's about what's in here is interesting. But that's I think how Sammy originally entered this as like a guy no one liked, but was saying things that people like and agree with. It's kind of like we just don't like him. Also, which side of the locker room is Sammy going to be on? He's fought more than anyone. But I don't think he was wrong in at least one of those situations. But I thought it was really nice of him, and this made him really sympathetic. And it's gonna almost be sad when he takes the pin in this match.
Almost.
Yeah. This was definitely more vlog Sammy than on-screen Sammy. And vlog Sammy is almost always like this. Oh, and when he's a face as well. So you definitely seeing more of that side of him, James, here. And it's weird because I feel like Sammy's character, when he does do this, is almost like he does the wrong things for the right reasons because he's trying to succeed and get to his dream. But he's, cheating and using Jericho and the rest of the JAS to do it, so, at least at this point in his career.
That's hard for me to say because realistically, Sammy turned heel because it's just very easy to boo him. He has that. He's got like the dick face, Very look at him. Face. Yeah, you look at him and you think, wow, that guy's a douche. And again, I watch the vlog from time to time, and he is a likable guy. He really is. And it's kind of a shame that a lot of real life drama
played out publicly.
Yeah, warped what shouldn't have affected his career, his on-screen persona. Now, granted, you can make an argument. He brought his personal life into it when he proposed to his girlfriend on TV, but it's unfortunate that things played out the way they did. I will say I enjoy cheering him just as much as I enjoy booing him. So if he were to turn face again, I would be all for it. But I think they're always going to have an uphill battle with him because he's very good at playing the smarmy dick. So I enjoyed what we got from this promo. We talked about this promo. We talked about the MJF one. Did we talk about Jungle Boy? That comes later, right?
Yeah, that was the final one. So, I mean, unless you would like to talk about...
did we talk about Darby?
We haven't talked about either of them, but we can just bang them all out now if you like.
I just to speak to something Danny said about Jericho talking about Sammy here. I love that Christian talked about Jungle Boy.
Yep.
I love that because Christian, being the babyface that he is, knows when to give his opponents their due, even if it's a heel like Jungle Boy, who genuinely, with each passing week, Rev, I know you've missed it the last few weeks, feels more and more like a heel.
Yeah, I haven't seen last week's episode, but I did catch 2 weeks ago, earlier today. So
not a full on.
I know Sammy turned on the MJF, but
I mean,
we all
MJF kind of turned on. I don't know. They broke up. It was a mutual breakup, unlike Sammy's actual real life breakup with his ex-fiancee Pam.
Which that was a low blow. We don't know what happened there.
Nice.
That was good, right? That was like natural. I was proud of myself.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah, fuck real life asshole Jungle Boy. Darby's was great. It was a different approach from Darby, way more humble, down to earth, slice of life sort of video for Darby. And then of course you had Sting in there.
Yep.
And I was a fan of that. I was a fan of everyone's except for Jungle Boy. But that's because, he's the worst. He's like the Britta of the four pillars, except worse because Britta's a likable character at least.
Oh God, is this a Jungle Boy episode?
Oh man, I wish he would fucking lay low for a few weeks. But they were all good. Like I said earlier, I thought this was a good way to not have them on the show after they spent so much time on the show with them the past couple of weeks. So this is a good way to keep it going without having them on TV.
Yeah. And James, to your point, like I liked Christian in Jungle Boys because Christian was like, yeah, I always thought he was the most talented, but then he just didn't have what it took.
Yeah.
He didn't have that streak in him to do what needed to be done.
Yeah.
So that's pure Christian playing it perfectly, where he was like, yeah, I did that, but here's why I turned on him, because he sucks.
He sucks. He fucking sucks.
And he was the only one. He was the only one who had anything negative to say about any of the pillars in their respective promos here, because obviously MJF didn't have anybody; it was just him in the title. And then Ty and Jericho spoke very highly of Sammy. Obviously, Ty is going to, but Jericho spoke very highly of Sammy. And then you have Sting talking highly of Darby, saying how they're very similar. And you have Darby with his parents there, and obviously his parents are going to talk highly of them. But as for Jack, it was just Christian, and Christian said he thought he was the most talented, but he actually said something negative about him, which I thought was interesting.
That is a little piece of shit. Yeah,
basically.
I was going to ask. I know the answer already, but other than Christian and Luchasaurus, is there anybody in the company that he had any like meaningful relationships with? And the answer is Hook, but he's kind of like a man on his own. He doesn't really have friends right now.
I'm sorry. Can we acknowledge
right.
This is maybe one of my favorite comments ever.
Jungle Boy's dissoning water.
So good. But I wouldn't even say he had Hook. That was like a 2-week thing. That's not a relationship.
It went longer, but that's what I mean. Like, he doesn't really have anybody.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting place to find himself.
Yeah, the original Jungle Express is dead because Lucha's with Christian and Marco's not there. And then you're right. The only other guy he's really done anything with is Hook. Otherwise, he's been on his own. And I think part of that was probably because, Christian was out for a while. So after that broke up, then he kind of got put a little bit on the back burner and just until that feud could officially end. And now he's looking to do other things and it's led into this feud. But he's got nobody really. I mean, just the fact that the only person they could turn to in the company to say good things about him was Christian is a very interesting way to do that.
It might be purposeful.
Yeah. No, I think it is.
Purposeful. So we'll see how things play out.
Because, I mean, there's no reason you couldn't have gone to, say, JR and have JR say good things. I know they seem to be avoiding, some of the commentary guys in this, but JR has been very supportive of Jack, since he's gotten into AEW. So you could have gone to him, but no, they went to Christian. And, Christian said he was talented, but he shit talked him too. So very interesting dynamic, and I thought it made it a little more unique as opposed, to the other three. Obviously, MJF being unique because he was alone, but this one was the uniqueness of that particular promo.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. All right, let us move on. So after this, we had an announcement from Tony Khan, where he announced that he had an announcement next week on TNT. The obvious hint here was that he said that he thought that they could be putting on a lot more programming and a lot more wrestling. Why is Luigi there?
Sorry.
A lot more wrestling, and they thought they could be putting out more content. So this was a barely thinly veiled reference.
Yeah, what about Anna Jay?
To be fair, they haven't really been on screen together. So, it's been referenced. MJF referenced them together, but they haven't really...
Well, Max Caster was the first person to reference them together on TV. Thank you very much. But
so you have to Max and Max. So, yeah. But like I was saying about the TV show...
Why are you holding up a thing of Barney?
Come on, it's yellow. It's not purple.
Yellow.
Anyway...
Oh, that's the dinosaur from Toy Story. Sorry, my mistake.
It's Rex. Yeah. Like I said, this is clearly he's talking about Collision. It's coming next week when the Warner Brothers Discovery AEW TV contract is announced. Whatever. Okay, after this, we had what was probably Danny's favorite match on the card: Orange Cassidy versus Daniel Garcia for the International Championship. I fucking got it right here. Thank God I only fucked up once on this part of the show.
There you go.
This match was really good. Garcia actually dominated the majority of it. He attacked the hell out of Cassidy's previous injuries, focusing a lot on his injured hand and his injured knee. Towards the end of the match, Garcia went and locked in a Dragon Tamer, right? I believe he calls it.
Yeah.
Then he transitioned to an arm triangle and then to a crossface. And from the crossface, Orange was able to transition into a pinfall attempt, forcing Garcia to break the hold in order to kick out. Garcia then countered into a pinfall attempt of his own, but then Orange was able to counter the counter, get the pinfall, the win, and barely retain his title. So, Danny, like I said, I love this match. Garcia looked great in it, very dominant throughout. And I've been saying this for like 3 or 4 weeks now. Granted, I missed a couple. But 4 weeks ago, I was saying I thought we were nearing the end of the line of Orange Cassidy's title reign. And he keeps coming out and he keeps winning despite the fact that he is injured to hell and back.
If Cassidy lost the title to Daniel Garcia, I probably would throw myself at Biden's Secret Service men. Look, I'm like 30-70 on Garcia. There's some weeks where I like him, but 70% of the time, this was one of my least favorite of all 20 of Orange Cassidy's
I actually
title
agree.
defenses. This wasn't it for me. Garcia wasn't the guy. I was upset before the match even started. I was like, this is not the match I want to see. Every other week, I'm always like, oh, this is it. This is going to be good. The Buddy Matthews, I look forward to that match so much when they announced it. I felt nothing with this. Garcia's, maybe if it was Blackpool Combat Club Garcia, I'd be into this, but Jericho Appreciation Society at this point in time, Garcia, I genuinely feel like Eric, producer boy, sorry, I don't want to see him in this situation. He didn't need to be on TV for this. He should have never beaten Brian in Brian's comeback match. He should have never beat Yuta for the pure title. That's how much I'm off of Garcia right now. That being said, I really liked how he sold the finish, how he got rolled up and he just immediately was leaning on the ropes yeah, that really just happened. He wasn't I hate when people
did I lose moment.
Yeah, I hate when people get rolled up and then they're kind of selling after. That too, but even I hate when they're they're trying to kick out of the roll up, but they can't. And then once the roll up's done, they kind of like go back to selling. I'm like, wait, no, like you were just like struggling, like like Garcia sold that perfectly, but like, man, yeah, this wasn't it for me. Maybe it's because it didn't open the show. Maybe that was a factor as well. But like, and that's why I love the opening match so much. But like, Garcia was an uninspired choice. Like, he's just not the guy that'd be facing Cassidy at this point in time.
Garcia aside, though, did you think he wrestled well? Because I thought the story of the match was very good, which is why I liked it. I can understand your lack of enthusiasm, to bring back a phrase, over Garcia, but I thought the story itself was really good because of Cassidy continuing to defend this title and be in matches week in, week out. He's clearly wearing down.
Yeah, the story was good. It's one of the weaker chapters in this story.
But anybody else but Garcia, and you probably would have loved this match, right? Maybe not anybody else, but
I mean, most people.
Yeah.
When he faced Yuta, it was fantastic, but that's because there's actually history there, and like, if he had fought what's his name, Matt Bernard, I probably would have liked it more. Not Angelo Parker though.
I'm trying to think of somebody else who's like very submission based and heel and would attack Cassidy the same way, just to compare, but I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head except Wheeler, and then we already had that match.
Oh man, Jay, good night. Good to know you're from Canada, man. We're very pro Canada over here.
Our home and native land.
But yeah, I don't like
that. That being said, I hope the Leafs lose.
Fair.
Who? What sport is that? You mean the Expos? We're talking about.
Oh, rip the Expos.
But yeah, no, I can't fully explain it, but yeah, that just wasn't. Garcia wasn't the guy. Maybe James can elaborate more on that because he feels like he was in the same boat.
Yeah, I will say, I think I'm reading for you, Danny. It's a combination of Garcia and the fact that Orange didn't really do anything except get his ass kicked. So it's probably a bit of both. But go ahead, James.
In regards to Orange getting his ass kicked, that's sort of been a recurring thing in his last few defenses, that he has been wearing himself thin, and he's just barely surviving these defenses. Like that was the story with Bandito. He had another one fairly recently that it felt similarly.
It started
Buddy
with
Matthews
Buddy
one.
Stuff.
Buddy too. Yeah, Buddy too. Thank you.
It started with the hand, and then I don't know if he had one last week. Who did he have a match last week, or was that the 8-man tag? That was the 8-man tag. Yeah, he was in the 8-man tag, but I do believe he injured his knee in that, or he injured his knee in one of his more recent.
Well, the knee started with the Jay Lethal Jeff Jarrett program.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so he's been fighting through a lot of injuries, and yeah, like you said, James, it's catching up to him.
Yeah, and it's further demonstrating how great a champion he's been and how great this reign has been. He's going to lose this belt because he's given everything he's had, which not a lot of champions in today's wrestling landscape can say. So, really great reign for Orange. But to Danny's point, I did feel similarly tonight going into this match with Garcia. I think Garcia would have been a good challenger months ago at the challenge number 7 or 8.
I was about to say 5, but yeah, somewhere between 5 to 8.
Yeah, that
single digits. Yeah.
Because now we're at a point. I really only want to see people face Orange if I believe they're going to be the guy that can actually take the title off Orange.
Or at least I would feel something if they took the title off of them.
Yes.
Because I never thought Garcia was going to win this match.
Me neither.
But I definitely wasn't as invested as I should have been.
I am similarly down on Garcia, and I can't even really explain why. He's doing everything right. I just think it's a weird example of they gave him a little too much too fast, and now it just feels he's stuck. He's advanced further than where he should be, but he's still developing that he doesn't deserve any more than where he's at. So it's a weird spot. I personally, I thought the match really got better by the end. I'd say the last 5 minutes or so really amped up and I got invested in it. I loved when he had Orange in the submission and then he's just he's just kicking his hand over and over and over. That was pure Bryan Danielson right there. That was pure mat technician, which is why I was a little annoyed, and maybe I missed it throughout the rest of the match. But I was a little annoyed with the call after the match when Orange rolled him up and got the win, that Excalibur said, Garcia upset realizing he played this too much like a sports entertainer and not a wrestler. And other than when he was flipping the crowd off, I don't think he acted like a sports entertainer in this match. He acted like a wrestler. So I thought that was a little bit of a weird call, especially given the ending of the match. Yeah. But
there was also a point too, like Garcia was taunting Cassidy with his own stuff, but yeah, I agree. Like he didn't really feel like he was playing up the sports entertainment stuff. He was definitely out there wrestling and kicking Orange's ass.
Yeah, so a weird call for me in an otherwise mid to getting better match by the end.
Okay, so I can think of some other things. Like, I think the problem with Garcia has been it's been downhill since he didn't join BCC. I think everyone knows that was a mistake to do that. It was a mistake.
I would like to talk about it, but I want you to continue.
But the other thing, like, I think it's not a direct one-to-one like correlation, but he was just in Adam Cole's return match, and that was very, very lackluster.
Yeah.
And so it just feels like another match. I'm like, why is he here? He doesn't deserve. Like, it feels like the old like AEW's problem from like a year or so ago, where like someone would be on TV relentlessly, even though like it's maybe not warranted, and then they'd be cycled out. And like, God, this felt like it feels like that, where it's like, are we going back to that, where like people have this phase of getting matches on TV constantly, even though they always lose or they don't necessarily maybe shouldn't be in that spot? This felt like somewhat like some bleed over from like that.
I'd agree. I'd agree. It very much feels like they don't know what to do with him. It feels like they're just throwing him at things because he's a name that we know. He's a capable mid-card heel, so they want to put him up against baby faces to get the win, and that's good for whoever he's wrestling, but I think it's detrimental to his growth. And just quickly to get onto the JAS BCC thing, I don't think the problem was him actually sticking with the JAS. I think it's how they booked it. They booked it so back and forth that by the end, I genuinely didn't care what he did either way. I was disappointed that he stuck with the JAS, but I actually think in the long run, they are doing a good job helping him develop as a character. And considering how the BCC has been for months up until now, where they're all a unified heel front, I think that he would have stalled in a different way back then. So I think in a weird way, it was a good decision for him to stick with the JAS. But now this new heel BCC, I'd be all for it, especially under the wing of this Bryan. But yeah,
they could have had a BCC Civil War with Garcia and Bryan and Yuta and Moxley or whatever, and Claudio being a neutral Swissman.
That was good. That was good. That was good. But yeah, the match itself got better. I need challengers for Orange that I think are actually going to take the title off Orange. And I don't want to spoil the other match that happened later, but the segment later, I love who did it with Orange. Like, I love who got involved in the segment with Orange later in the night. A great talent. I don't think he's winning. I don't care how many belts he had. I don't think he's adding this third one. So
you can spoil it. Who was it?
Kyle Fletcher of Aussie, open. And great wrestler. I have become a huge fan of Aussie Open in the last couple months. From their work in Impact and Ring of Honor and AEW, they have really impressed me. They are great talent.
What's Will Ospreay doing? Let's run that match back.
I mean, technically
That might be a
he's
forbidden door.
technically he's hurt, but I
Well,
don't
we
know.
can work around that. Okay.
Yeah, AEW working around people getting hurt, we make it work. We'll
Yeah,
make it
it'll be
happen.
fine.
But yeah, so I rambled. I
It's
tangented.
okay. Well, I think we can all agree there's just something not really clicking about Garcia, and hopefully he can figure it out. But for now, let us move on. I think we came back from commercial to a promo package featuring the Outcasts and then Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. Obviously, Sheeta returned last week. I can't believe I fucking missed that. I'm so pissed. But
Only for her to be gone again.
I know she's back, but fine. I'm just mad I missed it. But the Outcasts have challenged Sheeta, Jamie, and Britt to a trios match, I believe, next week. And they're trying to take advantage of Jamie's injured shoulder. Britt and Jamie accept on behalf of the trio. And Jamie says that no matter what percentage her shoulder is, she can still kick all their asses with whatever she's got left. Coming up next, then, we had an in-ring interview with Christian Cage, led by Tony Schiavone, which Tony Schiavone, a lot more calm in this interview than I thought he was going to be. He usually calls guys out. He was pretty chill with Christian in this one.
Did you see who was in Christian's corner?
Fair play.
Babyface Luchasaurus. You don't want to piss him off. He didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly. So Tony asked Christian why he was able to jump the line to become number one contender for the TNT Championship, and Christian says that he's fucking Christian Cage. So he walked into Tony Khan's office and said he wanted a shot at the title. And when you're Christian Cage, you're afforded those sorts of opportunities and luxuries. If
only Edge was this honest with the crowd, right? They're both doing it, but at least one's honest about it.
Christian then moves on to talking about Wardlow, saying that he won't attack Wardlow's deceased father the way he did Jungle Boy's, because at least Jungle Boy's father was famous and people cared, whereas nobody cares about Wardlow's dead dad. So, because he's a nobody. His words, not mine.
Do you feel good about yourself, Rev, saying shit like that? That's awful, man.
I mean, it's what he said.
Dude, you literally just said that his dad was a nobody, and now he will never be anybody.
You shouldn't be proud of that.
Fucked up, bro.
I am quoting Christian Cage.
You said he was a never was and a never can be. Like that's
Christian said those things.
It's so mess. I know you've been gone for a bit, but man, we don't go that hard here, man. All right, we have respect for people here.
We have standards here.
Look, I got my own daddy issues. I'm not going to make fun of anybody else's.
I feel like that's exactly why we would make fun of somebody else's, dead or otherwise.
Oh.
Anyway, Christian goes on to say that, look, Wardlow's found Arn Anderson now, so it'll be okay. And then Christian starts in on Arn, saying that he isn't a legend, or maybe just because he stood next to Flair or was tag team partners with Tully, that might make you a legend, but he doesn't see it that way. And that Arn isn't as smart as him, and that Wardlow is going to find that out and realize that his days as TNT champion are nearing an end.
I'm sorry. You skipped a very important part of Christian's promo, which was how
it's Detroit to kick his ass.
No. He spoke about how Wardlow was looking for a father figure and he found Arn, and how perfect is that because Arn is looking for a son. And when the reaction got really silent, like really silent, I think he pivoted. I hope he pivoted, or at the very least, that was always how it was going to go. And he just knew the line that he was walking. Because yes, guys, Arn does have a son, Brock Anderson, who works for AEW and exists.
He's a bit of a project.
Oh, he's more than that. But beyond that, unfortunately, Arn, less than 2 months ago, lost his other son. Passed away, I think, at 37 years old. That's heartbreaking. That's tragic. Christian is a good family man and likes to tell that to his ex-wife. But
low blow, man. That's messed up, man. Where's the line, bro? Like, what the hell?
I'm just saying.
Wardlow's dad.
I was so on edge as to whether or not he was going to pull a Saraya. Who was it? Yeah, Saraya, and talk about a dead relative. That's just a little too soon to do so. But Christian, being Christian, was able to walk that line beautifully, and the crowd played to it perfectly. So this was a scary promo for me, but it worked out.
Yeah, see, I had forgotten that. Like, it was in the back of my mind. I was like, didn't Arn lose this? And then I was like, yeah, but no, what's his name is still there. And then thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that made this really tricky. I'm surprised he was able to pull it off. The crowd, by the way, during this entire promo was, except that one part, very loud.
Oh, yeah. They legitimately didn't know how to react to it. And I think that's exactly what Christian was looking for. I think this was better than if they booed.
Yeah. But at the same time, outside of that, they were great.
Me!
Yeah, bro, you brought up his ex-wife. That's so low, man.
Choices were made there.
Bro, that's like 6 feet under low, bro. Like that's
fucked up.
So low.
So,
yeah, exactly. It's so fucked up.
I know in the Mark It Down universe, Jungle Boy's a heel, Luchasaurus is a babyface. Are we allowed to say that Christian's a heel?
No, what? How is he a heel? What is he?
I mean, as long as it's not Jungle Boy, I feel like it's okay.
No, he freed Luchasaurus from Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, look how Lucha's
and now he's going after
it.
the guy who's ruining the TNT title. I'm sorry, I failed to see the problem with any of this.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson, all that guy does is manage eventual traders. So what's gonna happen? Wardlow's gonna leave for WWE next. Christian's the good guy here in every sense of it. Okay.
He's going around pretending to shoot people in this country right now. That's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Clear heel.
Bro, a white guy who fantasizes about shooting people? Yeah, that's your babyface hero? Are you serious, man?
All right, I'm out. I'm tapping. This is me tapping, guys. I'm tapping. I'm out.
Danny, heel face dynamics aside, I'm sure you enjoyed this promo.
Oh my god, I loved it, man. This crowd was like Puerto Rico out there, man. This shit was great. You know, I watched Raw. Raw was a fantastic show. You know what the only real problem with this week's Raw was? Fucking Florida. This crowd sucks so much ass, Jacksonville. You were the fucking worst.
Bortles.
To the point where I was happy when they were piping in crowd noise because goddamn, you guys sucked. You got a great fucking show and you sat on your hands. You don't get a good Raw every week, okay? So fucking enjoy it when you get it like that. So this crowd tonight was like Puerto Rico all over again, except just booing people because Puerto Rico barely booed anyone. But like except Bianca Belair. Also, just a quick jab. Chad's not here, but they didn't pipe in any cheers for Natalya, so you got to hear those crickets live and in person. But I love this. Christian knows how to fucking Christian's getting more heat than MJF right now, man. He's on another level. This is so good, and the beauty of Christian is that he's putting people over. Even if he beats Wardlow, it's so that he can probably put Jungle Boy over again or put someone over again. Like I kind of want him to win the TNT title. Or if he doesn't win, I want Luchasaurus to win it. Like, this was so good. And the fact that he was able to speak over this crowd that was so loud.
Just powered right through it.
Well,
it was so impressive.
That's the mark of a true veteran. You know, he's a guy who knows how to handle a crowd, a hostile crowd. And he played it to perfection. That's what you're supposed to do, but not a lot of younger talent know how to do. It's very intimidating, but the guy who wrestled in TLC matches isn't going to be intimidated by Detroit. It was beautiful.
Yeah, this guy came out here with an agenda, and no matter how the crowd reacted, he did everything he set out to do. This was fucking masterful. Just hearing the fact that it was so perfectly balanced for us to hear him, but still hear how loud and massive the boos were. While he tore to shreds these 3.5 jabronis. 4 jabronis? Do I count a dead person as a whole? Anyway, it's fucking He tore into them. How are they going to come back from this? How the hell is Arn going to respond to this next week? Are you kidding me? He doesn't stand a chance. Bro, it's over. It's cooked. There's no coming back for this for Wardlow or Arn, but especially Wardlow.
Is this match happening next week, or is it happening on pay-per-view?
I have no idea. I'm just saying next week, how is Arn going to respond to this?
Oh, yeah, fair.
There's no responding to this. You can't top this. Maybe
think,
Christian might not even be able to top this.
Yeah. The way Christian was talking, it kind of seemed like there was going to be a face-to-face next week. So I don't know when the match is occurring, but something's probably going to happen next week.
Yeah.
Some sort of violence. But I'm looking forward to it.
Was Christian and Jungle Boy on pay-per-view, or was that on TV?
It was on pay-per-view. It was at Revolution, I believe.
Okay.
Well, the cage match against Luchasaurus was the pay-per-view was at Full Gear, right? Because that opened Full Gear in Newark.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Why are you asking? So why are you asking?
I was just confirming, and then
I didn't remember that it was Full Gear, but yes, I knew that happened on pay-per-view.
Well,
James flies all over the country to go to pay-per-view, so it could have been any pay-per-view.
They blur together after a while, but yeah.
But I'm only at a few of them, so you should remember those.
I just didn't. I knew
he doesn't remember.
I just didn't the name of the pay-per-view.
All right, fine, whatever. After that, we had the Darby Allin promo package for the 4 Pillars match, which we mentioned already, and then we came to Julia Hart versus Anna Jay in a no holds barred match. This match started with the very obvious thing of Anna Jay jumping Julia during her entrance.
Before you get started, Rev, I think it should be commented on that this was an ongoing feud between the two women on Rampage for weeks and weeks. This had a lot of build to it. This wasn't a random match that happened tonight. This had a lot of build to it. It was well built. And it's interesting because both women are heels. Julia is a heel and Anna is a heel. So we're getting a rare heel versus heel feud in AEW. Tony does not like booking them. And we're getting Rampage aside, a well-built feud for two women. Yeah. So this match was...
Are House of Black heels?
They're cool heels, but they're heels.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're cool. Like, I think they're fucking awesome, but they're heels.
Everybody thinks they're fucking awesome. But yeah they attack people But this was just a straight blood feud, and sometimes that supersedes heel versus heel.
Oh, no, it's awesome.
I've never seen them attack people.
Ever.
Usually because the lights are off, but, you know.
It's a gag. But, yeah, I've seen actually a lot of this build on the internet because the promos and everything surrounding it have been really, really good. The package that just came out on Road to Dynamite, which, side note, Road to Dynamite's a pretty solid show if you want to get some really cool behind-the-scenes stuffs. Daddy Magic has had some great promos on there. And, you know, the promo package for this match was really good, outside of, you know, Anna forcing all of her catchphrases in there. But I guess that's kind of the point because she's JAS and, you know, they're sports entertainers. So she kind of has to.
I missed you, buddy.
But that's not what you said last week. But all right.
in that promo, Julia, you know, she was doing the promo, and then the House of Black actually backed her up in the whole thing. So it was really cool. So I wish I saw all of the build, but I didn't. And then, at least in my opinion, unfortunately, I don't think the match lived up to the build I saw. It was good. I've seen Anna have so much better no holds barred, no DQ street fight matches before. So I guess I just have higher hopes for her in these type of matches, but it wasn't great. There were some cool spots though. That chair shot Julia took, coming out of commercial, like she just took that shit face first. That was pretty brutal looking. She barely kicked out of that. And then this was actually towards the end of the match, actually, so I might as well just run it down. Julia then barely kicked out of a spinning back kick in which she had a trash can on top of her. Anna then got all the chairs from the outside, threw them back in the ring, and tried to suplex or brainbuster Julia on them. Julia was able to reverse. Anna went up top. Julia met her up there, hit the superplex. It was probably supposed to be into the chairs, but the chairs were too far into the middle of the ring, so they missed the majority of them. Anna kind of hit her legs on a few of them. But Julia was then able to lock in the Heartless submission maneuver and force Anna to tap out. So, James, like despite the build, a little bit of a disappointing match, but Julia, I think she got hurt. Her hip looked really, really fucking bad. So they did bust their ass for this match. I will give them that.
You know, it's like the old timers used to say, this ain't ballet. You know, there's only so many safe ways you could land on a pile of chairs. In this instance, just don't do it.
Especially face first.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're both feeling it. But while I do agree with you, this was not a spectacular match by any stretch, and we know Anna is capable of better. I do think it should be noted that it's very clear Julia is developing well. She is much further along now than she was when she joined the House of Black, and there's not much more you could ask for in that regard. You know, you want to see development, and they're doing it. And the match was a little bit of a dud, but it did have its high spots here and there, and it did have some talking points. So overall, I'd say it is more of a success for the women than a failure. And I guess this just means Anna's been getting carried by Ty. And I don't know. Hot take, maybe. But I enjoyed it enough. You know, it didn't offend me, but it didn't wow me.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I do agree with you. Julia's definitely coming along great. She's leaps and bounds better in the ring than she was when she started, obviously. But even since she's joined House of Black, she's leaps and bounds better in the ring. And obviously her promo work has come along so well. I think she's just kind of enjoying the House of Black stuff a bit more than just being the cheerleader on the sideline. Yeah. So she's having a lot of fun with it. And quite frankly, Anna's promo work has come along pretty well too. You know, I mean, she's having. I think her bigger problem is she's constantly having to force in these catchphrases. But I think she's just speaking a bit better.
Yeah, she's not yelling into the mic.
Yeah, which has been better for her. Danny, your thoughts?
I'd like to apologize to everyone for my colleague. He hates women and foreigners, which the foreigners part doesn't apply here. But
yeah, Rev, you got to let go of these hatreds.
Man, I haven't been gone that long to not realize who he's talking about.
Chad, right? Chad. It's Chad, right?
Yeah, who's who? Anyway, yeah, the match was fine. I really like the garbage can spot in the corner where she put the garbage can over. You put a garbage can over your opponent's head, you're gonna get a pop from me. I always like those spots because I don't understand how you do it safely. Because like the garbage can could bend in any way. Like if it's over, it could bend and then a ridge could go right into your forehead. You know, if you have your arms in front, how are your arms that sliced up? Like you can't control the way it bends. So that always baffles my mind. I always enjoy those spots.
Forget putting it on your opponent. Imagine putting it on your own head and then jumping off a steel cage. Shout out to your Shirai.
Who? You mean Io Sky?
Io Sky, you hater.
Oh, because she's foreigner, and
I'm on your side here. What did I do?
But who are you saying hates Io?
Himself.
Okay, I don't know who you're pointing to because you're on the bottom for me.
Yeah, me too, and everybody else.
Yeah. So, but yeah, fun match. Nothing crazy. Like it was what it was. I'm glad it was here. I'm glad it got a decent amount of time. I actually don't think it really mattered who won, but I think Julia was the right choice for the win. And I think, like what you were saying, aside from all the misogyny, I think you were saying, James, I think Rev was saying that you expect better from Anna Jay in these types of matches. And
I do.
Yeah, it's because of the street fight they had. They're
both of them. They had the one. Ty and Anna had the one a long time ago with, I think it was Penelope Ford and the Bunny, and then more recently they had the one against
Ruby and Willow.
Yeah, Ruby and Willow. And
which they lost that one.
Yep.
And that's two big losses for Anna.
Yeah.
She can afford
Yeah,
it. She can afford it. She can afford it, but
they're so far apart. And she weirdly has some of the best chemistry with Jade, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you know,
it's weird.
but yeah, this was what it was. Yeah, and it's AEW, so we only got our one women's match. But hey, this was a women's match that wasn't about either of the champions, so I'll take that. That's a win.
Mid-card women's feuds, more of them, please.
A mid-card women's blood feud at that. Like, I loved it. So let's move on. We immediately went backstage after the match to Renee Paquette, who was standing by with Orange Cassidy and the newly dubbed Best Amigos, which were the Best Friends and Bandito. They were about to head out to their gay.
Why do they have to be the Best Amigos?
Donde está la biblioteca?
Like, they can still just be the best friends.
Because Best Amigos is funnier. Anyway.
It's inclusive.
Yeah. Renee asks what rule that the Best Amigos have picked for Jesus Christ, James completely broke. He'll be back in a second when he stops cry laughing. Anyway, Renee asks the Best Amigos what rule they picked as the dealer's choice as a part of the open house rules, which apparently the House of Black gets to pick the first three, and then the opponents get to pick the fourth one. The House of Black had picked that. Where you go?
Well, no, the House of it's not that they picked the first three; those are just the established rules for it. That there's no rope breaks, 20-second countouts. I don't remember what third one was.
DQs are enforced.
That's the one that's up to the opponent. Like,
but
that's supposed to be the rule that's up to the opponent.
Well, that's the dealer's choice.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to deciding another rule, apparently.
Well, those were the three rules that were established, and there was the dealer's choice. It was admittedly a little confusing, at least for me. Anyway,
it didn't seem it last week when they cut the promo, but then in practice it became a little more confusing.
I was probably a little more confused because I haven't seen the promo, so that probably didn't help. But I digress. The point being, the Best Amigos didn't realize they get to pick a rule. So Chuck was like, well, I don't like that spooky girl Julia running around. And Trent goes, okay, we're going to ban all spooky witches from ringside. So that was the rule.
Orange looked so disappointed in them for that stupid rule. He looked so defeated by how unprepared they were for this.
It was so good. And then,
well, he's a serious fucking character hanging out with these fucking goofballs.
And then to top it off, Renee asks him, so do you have any words of encouragement or strategy for the guys before as they head out? And he just looks at Renee and goes, Renee, I'm so tired. And Renee's like, me too, buddy.
that was one of the best bits of the night.
Can I say Renee was on point tonight? Renee was so good. When Jericho was looking at the paperwork that Roger got, he's like, is this real? And she just looked over and was like, yeah, no, that seems legit, buddy. And
then just walks away from him. Like, I don't give a fuck.
She sprinted away because they immediately went back to her trying to get a word with Miro. Like, she was all over the fucking place, and girl got all her steps in trying to interview everybody.
Well, she's got to recover because she made herself look like a fool on Twitter.
Missed that one.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
She and Moxley took their cat to get neutered, and then they got the cat back, and the cat was instead spayed because they didn't realize they had a girl cat.
Well, I mean, at least they did the right thing.
Thank you, Bob Barker. Thank you.
Yeah, get your animals spayed and neutered.
Obviously, that segment of the night led into the House of Black versus the Best Amigos for the AEW Trios Championship in the open house rules, like I mentioned before. The other interesting thing about this match, besides the match itself, was the lighting. All of the surrounding lights were off except right on the ring, barely even on the floor, in between the ring and the barricade was lit up, and the House of Black's Tron was kind of still on with the flame members shooting up. So really interesting ambiance to the match. I didn't really take too many notes on it, to be honest with you. I was trying to set up my stuff here. I'm still unpacking, so I did miss a lot of it, but I did hear for the match Shivani say that banning spooky witches from ringside is a good idea because they should always be banned, and you'd wish you had thought of it earlier because then he wouldn't have gotten married. And that was the line of the fucking night.
It caught the others off guard. They didn't know how to react to it. And
because
it was just
Taz almost stepped on it. Actually, he did step on it, and then Shivani pulled it back and then started going again. And Taz almost stepped on it again, but Shivani was able to get it out. And Taz and Excalibur snapped and broke down crying. And that is 100% going to be on Botchamania. So, in the Incepted Taz commentary portion, it's Taz. Anyway, this match ended when Chucky T got hit with a Dante's Inferno, and the House of Black was able to retain. I from what I did see of this match, Danny Bandito was really good in it. He had some really good high spots, but I think he's always really good. Best Friends got their stuff in, but this was a fairly quick match, and a lot of it took place during commercial.
Yeah, this was weird. I didn't expect the first match with this new gimmick to be a filler match, but that's what we got. I really don't have much to say on it. I kind of just want to get to the main event. I'll take those Buffalo Wild Wings, or James could have me call dibs first, I guess. But anyway,
thank you, producer boy. Diago, do you have anything on this match?
It was good. I agree. I would have preferred more for their first big defense under these new rules. I think the new belts look great. I think I didn't
realize they redesigned them. They look different, but I couldn't really tell with the lights.
I don't know how to do this without making fun of you, but they just changed the colors.
Oh, okay.
And
in my defense, it was a tinted blue light that kind of fucks everything up.
I was trying. I wasn't trying to bust your chops. I wasn't trying to be a sassy guy. I'm just saying.
Save it for later.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, I thought the match was fine. I really need Chucky and Trent to get a win somewhere. Right? The tag team division is useless now. Let them have the belts.
Yeah, I guess. And also, too, can we just let Chucky T say shit on television finally?
Everyone else has.
Yeah. Brian literally calls Wheeler Yuta a shithead every week. Like, let the fucking guy say shit on television. But, yeah, I wish this match was better. I wish it had a little more time. And I agree, Danny. You think the first match under these rules wouldn't be a filler match, but it is what it is. Okay, after that, we had Jungle Boy's promo for the Four Pillars match at Double or Nothing. Then we had a quick promo during Excalibur's rundown for Ricky Starks and Switchblade Jay White. After Ricky beat Juice Robinson the other week, Jay attempted to jump Ricky from behind, but Ricky was able to fend him off. And now they will be facing off against each other on Dynamite next week. And finally, we come to the main event. Now, I could spend a whole lot of time breaking this down because I wrote a whole lot of shit about it because this match was phenomenal. But I'm going to skip a lot of that because I just want to get into talking about what happened because it was awesome. I will say, first of all, Brian was on commentary. He was phenomenal at it tonight.
He's been great. He's been great in the instances that he's done it.
Yeah. Every time Moxley, did something as violent as it was, Brian immediately explained the technical side of how and why. And it was so good. Like, look at him get his back, like, out of every move. He was so good. Before the match started, obviously there was brawling on the outside with Mox attacking Omega, and then Claudio and Wheeler jumping in, the Bucks coming for the save, and then the four of them all brawling together until security came and broke it up. There was barbed wire chair that were used on both men. We came back from commercial with Moxley fish hooking Omega with the thing that connects the turnbuckle to the ring post. I missed my old background too, Eric. Since you've missed everything, I'm in the process of moving. I'll have a new setup in a couple of weeks when I actually get into my own place. I can move everything. Oh, like a fly. Anyway, yeah, that was really nasty. But what we really saw, there was some broken glass in there. But the big spot was because Moxley pulled down the. How's it going, Brent? When because Moxley took off the top rope after Kenny Omega hit a V trigger and sends Moxley to the outside, he then hit the ropes. He then hit another V trigger. Both men went through the steel cage because there wasn't really a top rope to stop Kenny.
I was terrified. I was so nervous that Kenny got hurt.
Yeah, because the fence broke very weird. Obviously, they took out a section of it to break, but there was a bottom piece that was still there that was about level with the apron. So when Kenny continued his momentum through, because there wasn't a top rope, he fell and his leg got caught between that part of the fence and the apron. And I genuinely thought he fucked his knee up.
I did
too. It was a floppy fence. It wasn't a stiff fence. It wasn't like it was more like a real. I'm pretty sure if you ran through a real fence, that's what would happen.
Yeah, like a cheat one like that.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it. I've seen people do it in minor league baseball. Like sometimes you have the fence by the bullpen and they'll just run right through it.
Nobody should care that much in minor league baseball.
Well, I see it on Twitter. I don't actually go watch I do go occasionally.
I'm not saying you shouldn't watch minor league baseball. I'm saying no minor league baseball player should care enough to run through a fence.
Well, a lot of the times they don't even realize where they are.
Terrible mentality to have.
And that's why they're in the minor league. If they don't have field awareness.
Yeah, but at the same time...
Somebody commented in the back. I didn't hear who that was, but it was somebody. One of you guys.
No, James, if you don't show that type of hustle, you're never going to make it to the big leagues. So you can stay down in the minors then.
You know it. We talked about it. There's an announcement next week.
Tony Khan. Yeah, he made an announcement that there was going to be an announcement about an announcement. So
I think we might have gone on a tangent on that one.
We definitely did because we started talking about Collision because it's just the announcement that they're going to announce Collision basically. Anyway, even though Kenny was hurt and was getting checked on by the doc, Moxley came over and grabbed Omega and threw him back to the ring, and then took a screwdriver from a ring hand that apparently was going to come over and try to fix the cage. Mox jumped back into the ring.
How?
I don't know.
How do you fix a broken gate with a screwdriver?
It wasn't even Sonic. So anyway, Moxley jumps back in the ring and he's lining up Kenny to hit him with the screwdriver. But then Don Callis, who had come to the outside during commercial break, jumps into the ring and takes the minor league baseball teams have phenomenal mascots. Don't get me started.
I want to be on record. I'm not shitting on minor league baseball. It's very important. I'm simply saying don't run through a gate. Don't run through a fence. Doesn't matter.
Well, your original point made no sense, though, because you said you shouldn't be trying that hard in minor league baseball, where it's like, if you're in minor league baseball, you should be trying as hard as possible because you're trying to get promoted.
First of all, I could see the vein in Nick's forehead because we're getting off topic so much.
I just want to talk about this Carney piece of shit.
Fine. Go ahead.
So anyway, like I said, that Carney piece of shit, Don Callis, jumped in the ring and took the screwdriver from Moxley. Kenny then uses this distraction to hit a V-trigger, a ripcord V-trigger, and a one-winged angel, and is about to get to the win when that Carney piece of shit, Don Callis, stabs Kenny in the head with the screwdriver and breaks up the pin. Moxley literally just rolls over into a pinfall and is able to pick up the win. After the match, Don picks up a bloody Kenny and gets him on his knees, and it looks like he's going to stab him again, and then decides against it, whispers something into Kenny's ear, and then leaves and starts taunting the crowd. And then somehow after all of that, Moxley just got up and walked out under his own power because he's a fucking psychopath. But, James, fuck this Carney piece of shit, Don Callis. This is what I was saving my enthusiasm for, Danny. I cannot believe
2 hours later.
2 hours later.
I can't believe this. I feel like they've been setting this up for a while. But the manner in which they fucking did this is unbelievable.
I was very taken aback. I was expecting a betrayal tonight. I thought it was going to be Takeshita. I did not think it was going to be Don yet. I thought Don would probably be like next week. This was, I was caught off guard. The moment he jumped into the ring, I kind of expected it, but they got me. I'm sad for Kenny. I'm very sad for Kenny, but I gotta say, I'm a little confused by the angle they're going here because Brian says he didn't know about it. And while Brian is prone to lying, I suppose, Moxley...
Brian doesn't lie.
He lied to Kenny a few weeks ago.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He made him believe... He lied to him by making him believe he was going to team with him, and then he hit him with the running knee.
He didn't say that.
Yeah, lying doesn't have to be verbal. It's intent.
No.
But anyway, Moxley too sold it like, okay, I don't know what the hell just happened while looking at him, and then he was just like, I'm going to raise my hands because I'm the winner here. So it was a very interesting bit because is he just turning on Kenny? Is he siding with the BCC? Is this something else entirely? There's a lot going on there. So this became way more dynamic than I think we thought it would. And that's compelling. I'm into it. I'm very into it. And the story's not over yet because now that Cal has turned, Don is the one who brought Takeshita into it in the first place. Does this mean Takeshita automatically is going to follow him? Or does this mean he's going to stick with the Elite? I think we know. But regardless, very, very interesting, and I liked it. And I just want to say I liked the match. AEW has treated cage matches like rarities, like genuine specialty matches, and they feel important when they happen, and I don't think they've failed to deliver yet. So I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed the beginning where the Bucks and the rest of the BCC got involved. And what happened?
Nothing.
Dan and I are fighting over taking a comment down.
No, we're both trying to take it down. No.
Yeah.
But I like the BCC getting involved. I like the Elite getting involved. Again, very telling that Takeshita didn't get involved. Very telling. So this match delivered on all fronts for me. I think Danny is going to have a real problem with it because he lost to Moxley. So I think we know who he's going to beat. But other than that, very good. Very, very good.
He could beat Don Callis in a match. That's fine.
Yep, that's definitely who we were talking about.
Yeah, there is I don't want to call it a downside, but there's that thing here where the ending of this with Don turning on Kenny is going to slightly overshadow how good this match was. Because this match was fucking awesome.
I mean, but that's fine, though. Like, the first Hell in a Cell had the Kane debut. Doesn't mean that the match wasn't good, but, like, this is what people are going to remember. I'd rather them talk about what happened tonight in general than just people, oh, yeah, you remember that good cage match between the two? I think this was the perfect cap on it.
Yeah, because I guess, as opposed to, say, like, I think, wasn't the first cage match Cody versus Wardlow?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. I guess that's kind of historic because it's the first cage match, but it's just, it was Cody versus Wardlow so he could face MJF. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. This had an exclamation point at the end of a very good, violent, yet well technically wrestled match. This was all around just superb. So I love everything that happened here. As for Don turning, I do think this all starts, or at least stems from the fact that he wanted Kenny to go singles and refocus on, Kenny by God Omega. And Kenny is once again sucked into everything with the Bucks and the Elite and possibly Hangman and, still being involved in faction wars. And Don probably wants out, or he's pissed that Kenny wouldn't follow his lead at least. And because of this, he's decided that he's done with Kenny. So,
and that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. But if he's not going to align with the BCC, he's only going to have Takeshita. And how long of a feud is that going to be?
Yeah.
So I think he has to go with the BCC at this point for this to work. And truth be told, I think he would be an excellent addition to that group. I think he would add a very fun dynamic to that pretty straight-laced group. So I think that'd be great. And I think someone like Claudio deserves a mouthpiece. So he'd be great for in that role, even though Brian's doing a fantastic job. Were you going to say the same thing?
Brian's doing that, yeah.
No, he is, but I also don't want Brian to just be the manager of the group too. I would like for him to be the wrestler of the group too. And Punk had a mouthpiece in Heyman once upon a time, so you can be good on the mic and have a mouthpiece. So, and Brock is unironically good when he picks up a mic. So, either way,
yes. No, I think he'll probably align with the BCC, but I think his turning on Kenny probably stems originally from that, and then now he's just like, all right, fine. If you're not going to roll with me, I'm going to fuck you over and roll with your enemies, basically.
The only thing that's a little worrying to me about this feud right now is the pacing. We're getting a little close to the pay-per-view now, and we need things to pick up, and they are. But I feel like we're a week behind where we should be. Because at this point, we need to see the reintroduction of Hangman into just the story in general, and then a fifth member to the elite side, or presumably going with whatever's going to happen with Takeshita. A fifth player on either side is going to have to be introduced.
Yeah, I'm assuming I missed something with Takeshita last week, and I'm going to try to catch up on that within the next couple of days.
How dare you? You are a part of our wrestling podcast, sir.
How dare you host the show without knowing every single fucking thing? It's absurd.
Did you even go to wrestling?
Not recently.
What about journalism?
Definitely not. Oh, no, that's not true. I took a journalism class in college.
I bet you did.
I was bored.
Yeah, it shows. Yeah.
But yeah, Danny, you've been on the sidelines here for a while. I have to imagine you agree with us that this was a fantastic match.
I disagree with you guys in almost every aspect possible. One, how dare you undermine the first cage match in AEW? This was, if anything, it's the opposite. That cage match had a purpose. This cage match was just because. Granted, it was awesome, but there was no reason for this. It just happened. And it literally was, because the NBA playoffs are on. You're right.
No, violence was the reason.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, any match could have been that. If anything, you shouldn't have had a cage match because then they had to struggle to get weapons to hit each other with. But
Kenny really did, didn't he? Getting that chair.
Yeah.
He really did.
We got caught on the apron, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that barbed wire.
But yeah, this was sorry. That's great audio content right there. But
that's what he thought of the match, everybody.
Yeah, no, it was good. I liked it. It was a lot of fun. The turn was fine. I only think Don will work in BCC if nobody likes him.
That would be funny. That would be really funny, actually.
Like, he hypes them up and they're just like, yeah, shut the fuck up, Don. Like, please, I would like something like that if they're going to work together.
Like a Jerry Gergich type of deal almost.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great.
Fuck off, Jerry.
Like, he's trying to tell Moxley and Brian how to do things. They're like, fuck you. You've never even been to the company where we've main evented. Get the fuck out of here. I would like something like that, that kind of dynamic with them. But yeah, this was good. That was a lot of fun. I still don't love the screwdriver just because it makes me uncomfortable. Like, how do you safely take a screwdriver to the forehead? I don't understand, but Mox doesn't give a shit. Kenny doesn't either.
The bigger ones, like, I understand when it's like the small ones, you could kind of hide it in your hand and do it. But a screwdriver that big, I don't understand how they're faking.
And the fact that they're bleeding from all of these.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so I'm willing to bet like a shiny nickel that I saw that when Don hit Kenny with it, he hit him with the handle side and he was holding the metal side. And I think Kenny just bladed afterwards because we went a while before we saw Kenny's face. But every other week, we have legitimately seen them actually just poking and prodding with the metal part.
Takeshita got stabbed with it.
Yeah, legit. Good times. Good times in AEW.
Good times. Good times in AEW high.
The only time we should be seeing a screwdriver is when it goes into Jeff Hardy's ear and just makes me want to die.
Oh, I forgot about
that. Every time.
I don't like the idea of Jeff Hardy and screwdrivers, man.
Jeff Hardy, not a brunch guy.
I don't hate you, but I'm very mad right now.
Understandable. Well, good night, everyone.
I was going to say, we can't really do much better than that. So before we do wrap up, what were your guys' overall thoughts on Dynamite? I thought this was a really, really good episode. Pretty much from top to bottom. I mean, if the worst part of your show was House of Black versus Best Amigos, I think you had a pretty good fucking show here, James.
No, I completely agree. I think this was a very strong show. They booked it like it could have been a pay-per-view, and a lot of these matches were pay-per-view match worthy.
They said it at the top of the show. They're like, I think Excalibur accidentally just straight up called it a pay-per-view before covering.
It felt like it. It felt like it in the matches we got. So good show, good wrestling, good story development. You can't ask for much more than that other than Kenny Omega winning. But, I get what I get.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if he's going to lose and somebody's going to get out of the one-winged angel, getting scrapped with a screwdriver is a great way to do it.
Exactly. It still hasn't been kicked out of.
Yeah. Danny, I know you're exhausted from waving at the president today, but your thoughts quickly, on the entire show.
Well, he waved at me, first of all. I'd like to...
Did you wave back?
That. No, I give like a head nod, but, I'm not lifting my arm. Are you kidding me? But... hey, Kenny could say he got screwed at least, but James, you're wearing a hat today. Any reason for that? Is it uncomfortable to wear with the headphones over it?
No, just I was wearing it throughout the day, so I had hat hair, and I didn't want to deal with it going into while recording, so I just stuck with it, and I get to represent Impact.
Fair enough. All right. Makes sense. Rev, you're wearing a hat. Go Birds. I assume that's what everyone means when they say that. Big Orioles fan here. Captain Junior's the man. Yeah, I am. I got to root for someone right now.
I have 3 of the 4 AL East teams. I don't have the Yankees and I don't have the Red Sox. I have a Orioles hat, I have a Blue Jays hat, and I have a Devil Rays hat.
Would you ever wear a Yankee hat?
God, no.
Yeah,
absolutely not. I have pinstripe bowl hats from Yankee Stadium, so it's kind of like my back door into wearing one, but I'll never wear an actual fucking Yankee hat. Fuck that.
Yeah,
I don't know what we did to you, man. It's not my fault your team sucks.
2000, that's what you guys did to me.
Yeah, cool, man. Go to your freaking January 6th fucking protest with that Yankee hat, man. Are you kidding me?
What?
That's the association I make with Yankee fans.
You're the man who didn't wave back at the president today.
I gave him a nod. What else?
The head nod's very respectful, James. It's bro code. Come on.
You return what you get.
No, you get what I give. Anyway, do we have social media or not?
Yeah, we do, actually. So on that note, I would like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. I did actually want to quickly shout out, he gave the show an 8.8, and I think that's about right, actually.
What about us? How would you rate our podcast tonight?
It was awful because I confused Mark and Jay Briscoe.
First of all, I wasn't even asking you. I was asking you know it, but okay, we just bumped down a letter grade for comprehension skills.
But yeah, and I was going to say memory skills, but that too. But either way, whether or not you enjoyed it and my fuck ups or not, I would like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. It's a great stream, so thank you, sir. Be sure to like and subscribe so you can get more great streams. We are here every Wednesday after Dynamite. Danny covers Raw on most Mondays.
Every Monday.
James, for some of them. Has Gym Pact of Honor returned?
It has. I've been doing it.
Great.
Yeah.
I haven't had Wi-Fi for 2 weeks. So go check out Impact of Honor tomorrow night. James will be there every Thursday covering both Impact and Ring of Honor because he can't choose between the two. So he has to do both. We are here after most pay-per-views, so you can check us out after those.
Not Backlash.
As well. Apparently we missed Backlash. I missed Backlash entirely. How was Backlash? It looked good.
It was fantastic. It was the
It
most
was-
fun house show to ever be televised. It was a great time.
It really was a fantastic house show.
It ruined other crowds. U.S.
Yeah.
crowds suck. We suck.
We're spoiled. I cannot wait to watch. Honestly, I just want to watch it for the crowd. I heard Bad Bunny.
Apparently, they are not going to go back unless Puerto Rico really pays them to go back, which is just insane to me.
Yeah, I know that I heard they're looking at Australia, and they're not going to go unless Australia pays them. And
That I get. That's like all the way across the world, sure.
Yeah.
But like,
you don't even need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. Like, just it can't be that bad.
So silly.
Whatever. Anyway, but other pay-per-views we tend to cover. So you like and subscribe. You can check out all of that stuff. As long as when there's big news, we'll do episodes. Also,
next week there will be an episode for sure.
Yeah, well, I gotta get all my stuff together, and I'm working on it.
Was this us saying we're not doing an episode tonight? Because it feels like it.
Probably not. Be sure to check out all of our social media stuff below: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I always say every week, check out the Instagram. Danny does great work over there. I tweet a little bit, especially during the pay-per-views. I will be live tweeting there. Even Chad chips in on the Twitter sometimes. TikTok, I don't know. Facebook.
Who?
And I think James does Instagram stuff. So check us. Oh, excuse me, Facebook stuff. So check us out on all of that stuff. So unless you guys have anything else before we go, I'll take that.
You.
Thank you. I missed you guys too. I missed all of you as well. So for Dana Hernandez and James Asanzi, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. Have a good one, everyone.